Sunday, August 21st, 2022. You're listening to Weather with Enthusiasm. To a weather enthusiast, nothing could be more interesting and more exciting than to follow for this year, to follow Phoenix, Arizona's dew points and the weather over the past couple of months for Phoenix, Arizona, more so perhaps than any other city in the U.S. It's a rarity that Phoenix, Arizona should receive this honor due to humidity. Usually it's due to the high temperatures, but it's certainly been very fascinating watching those dew points in Phoenix continuously, almost on a daily basis at times, reach 70 degrees, even at Sky Harbor International Airport. We're having dew points approaching 80 degrees in the southwest parts of Arizona. The monsoon season is responsible for this. The monsoon season officially starts June 15th, says the National Weather Service, and ends at the end of September. Some say Labor Day, but really the end of September. But usually it starts 2 weeks later. It starts around July 4th. This year it actually started on time, which is actually considered early because it never does start on time. Started around June 17th, and initially the monsoon rains were actually very pleasant, widespread light rain. But that was not usual. That's not normal for a monsoon rain to be like that. Usually the monsoon rains are more of the convective type with the showers and thunderstorms, which produce beneficial rainfall, but at the same time have the risk of flash flooding. But and that's what eventually happened when you get into the month of July and in August. We currently are dealing with tropical moisture in the Arizona area, not just from the Gulf of Mexico, but also from the Pacific Ocean, from the Gulf of California, and also from a tropical rainmaker that's been situated over southern Texas for the past few days. And that tropical storm warnings have been issued in response to that in northern Mexico, perhaps southern Texas as well. Yet it's not a named tropical storm, but it is a tropical storm. It just doesn't have a name. That's just because of some technical issues. It does not. There has been an inability of meteorologists. They've not been able to find out certain crucial information that is necessary to give the storm a name. So the storm is deserving of a name, but there's information that is missing. There's missing information, therefore it does not fit the criteria for sure. It's unable to fit the criteria since there's missing information, but the impacts it's going to have on any area that gets hit with this storm will be equivalent to a tropical storm, and for all practical purposes, it is a tropical storm. Another phenomenal thing that's happening is that we have a 317-day drought as of yesterday. A 317-day drought, a hurricane drought in the Atlantic Ocean. Could you believe this? This is like, who's ever heard, like, how did that sneak by everybody? There's been no hurricanes. There's been plenty of talk about different storms that have moved from the Pacific Ocean through Mexico over into the Gulf of Mexico, into the Atlantic Ocean. But we've had no hurricanes for 317 days straight. That's not unprecedented, but it is in the top 10 hurricane droughts. A top 10 hurricane drought, whatever a hurricane drought means. And what's even more amazing, I don't know if it's more amazing or not, but forecasters were forecasting an above normal hurricane season. Now, that still could happen because the hurricane season is nowhere near its peak. The peak happens around, I think, September 9th to September 12th, also to mid-September. And there are indications that the season may start to ramp itself up over the next couple of weeks as thunderstorm complexes develop off the coast of Africa. But there's no clear indication one way or another. But we are in the midst of a 317-day drought. Not only that, but the ACE, which is a more accurate way, according to many, to measure the amount of energy that hurricanes are producing in the Atlantic. And this comes into when measuring climate change, that many believe the ACE unit is a more accurate way to figure out what's really going on than the hurricane. But that unit is usually up at 18 right now, and it's only at around 2. So we're well below normal in everything in regards to the Atlantic Ocean and the Phoenix, Arizona area is well above normal, especially in dew points. I don't really see anyone speaking about dew points to the extent that it's leaving an impression on me. So either that's because I have missing information about the previous summers, or it's just yet to come. The season's not over yet. The dew points are extremely impressive. It's the consistent dew points in the 60s and even the 70s. With a consistency, a type of consistency that you would find out in the, Arkansas, Oklahoma, places like that on the Gulf Coast. But I wouldn't say the Gulf Coast. It's, the dew points are a little bit higher on the Gulf Coast in general. But the heat and humidity is something, those words are something you hear in regards to the Midwest. Heat and humidity, the East Coast, they go together. But in Arizona, heat and humidity, the National Weather Service doesn't even use the term humid yet when it gives its official forecast. That's just not part of the Phoenix climatology. I believe even in the monsoon season, the dew points go well above 50 degrees. That's an indicator, according to the New Mexico, I believe it's New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. The average dew point in July is 47 degrees. Perhaps it's June or July, 47 degrees. When you see the dew points go under 50, you know that the monsoon season is dying down. So 50 degrees, there's good reason to believe that's a major threshold, and dew points tend to get occasionally into the low 60s. And then in recent years, we have been seeing dew points of 70 degrees in Phoenix every now and then due to swimming pools, says meteorologist Tom Skilling. There's been an enormous amount of swimming pools. People have been buying swimming pools, and that's been pushing the humidity up. But in the past, it's like an occasional 70-degree dew point. But this year, it's been daily. So we need to get more information in regards to that and how that compares in previous years on the official record books. How does that compare? Because memories play tricks on people, so we need to know. This year, you look at it, 70-degree dew points each and every day are occurring before sunrise. We have 70-degree dew points between midnight and sunrise. In the Phoenix area, we have 70-degree dew points occurring on a daily basis, and dew points recently have remained above 60 even in the afternoon. A lot of times, the dew points drop in the afternoon, and they do drop in the afternoon as those temperatures heat up. But this year, recently, even though they've dropped, dew points have still remained humid somewhat in the afternoon. We have other places around Phoenix where dew points have actually remained closer to 70 with tropical dew points of 20 degrees Celsius or higher, 68-degree dew points even in the afternoon as temperatures go up to about 100 degrees. And the high humidity is keeping things lower, especially on Friday, as we saw so many clouds over the area. The temperatures remained only in the 90s. This entire week, according to the European computer model, it's going to be humid. The monsoon rains continue. These tropical systems add more moisture into the atmosphere. But models indicate next Sunday, things will start to dry out. Not in the morning, perhaps in the afternoon, but Monday. I don't know how accurate this is. But by a week from Monday, we're back to the classic Phoenix weather, back to the dry heat. If this forecast materializes, the humidity is gone by a week from Monday, but realize it still is monsoon season. At the same time, in the southern Midwest, the humidity is way down for this week. The humidity starts to go up again pretty much at the exact time the humidity goes down in the Phoenix area. The humidity starts to go up again in the St. Louis area and for areas right around there, which is pretty much the northern border of the hot and humid summers. Meteorologist Tom Skilling has explained that when you go between Chicago and St. Louis, there's an actual climate change that takes place in the summer. I know many people from down south feel like there's a climate change that takes place in the winter, that the winters are like not comparable when you go from St. Louis to Chicago. I don't know if that's true or not, but in the summertime, you have a top-notch meteorologist who's saying this somewhere along between St. Louis and Chicago. This would include, it's not just St. Louis, it's, there's a line. It goes from St. Louis, I would assume Kansas City is included, certainly Wichita, Kansas, all those areas. You have places like there's a line where you have hot and humid summers, and then above that line, it's relative. So if you're coming from Alaska, sure, the Chicago area, you could call it hot and humid throughout the summer as well. But there's plenty of days, temperatures in the 80s and humid is much different than temperatures in the 90s and humid. So we have that, on the northern border of these hot and humid summers, where the climatologically speaking, this is where the heat and humidity is. The humidity is going to be down this week, but the humidity goes back up next week when the humidity starts to go down in Phoenix, Arizona. We have a very intense heat building in the Pacific Northwest. That heat might cool down a little bit during the middle part of this week, but record heat returns for the end of the week, especially in Seattle, Washington, and then all over, moving throughout. It strengthens. The heat strengthens again as we head towards next weekend into record-breaking heat for many locations by sometime between Thursday and Saturday. At some point between there, record highs are likely to be broken, despite the fact right now it's very hot there. It will get cooler, but it's going to get hot once again as that high-pressure ridge builds back into the area. We're also getting some of those monsoon thunderstorms are also headed into the Northwest Pacific. However, very dry air on the surface is causing the rain to evaporate before reaching the ground. That's causing dry thunderstorms, which is the worst thing for wildfires. Very dangerous stuff for wildfires. We have on the East Coast warm and humid conditions for much of the week for a place like New York City. Chicago, Illinois, we're at the very end of the humidity here, but the humidity again is likely to return for the beginning part of next week. Thank you for listening. I wish everybody a great day.